it's been a while since I've had the dogs out early, and so I just thought today would be a good day. We're out about 20 minutes before sunrise. You can already see light coming across the sky, and probably won't make the top of the hill before sunrise, given that I waited this long. I should have left at, I don't know, probably 6 a.m. But still feels good to be out. And the weather, of course, is so much nicer than the heat wave we had. See all the westbound traffic on the 14 is pretty stopped up. We'll make sure not to come back that direction. Either come back through the new community. Clouds look pretty cool. Or we'll come back out the other side of Placerita Canyon, which can get busy because people start coming through the canyon to try and avoid this traffic. But we'll come back opposite traffic to get back home, so at least we'll save ourselves that. Dogs are pretty excited. See if we see any mule deer. And as always, my big hope is that we just don't run into a skunk. Had that, well, I haven't had that with my dog personally, but been with other people. Oh well. Down at the beach, I ran into a skunk with my ex-wife's dog. That was quite the experience for several days. No way to wash out that odor, no matter what they tell you. Best you can do is minimize it. But in any case, haven't run in. I know there are skunks up there for sure, but we haven't run into any. We've seen a few bobcats, found some deer carcasses, so we know that there's probably mountain lions in the area, and we see mule deer quite a bit. Both dogs are waiting. It's hard to see Bo, but they just know. They know where we're going. They're very interested. Already some cars lining up at the stop sign. This will get heavier over the next hour or so because cars come through Placerita Canyon to avoid the stop up on the 14 as it gets busier. Went to bed around, oh gosh, it was before 8:30 I think, and ended up waking up around 3:30 in the morning. Did some time-lapse photography and looked at one training video and then practiced guitar, and decided I need to get the dogs out a couple days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, maybe more. Get them out in the hills. It's what they love. It gives them the best exercise. I've been negligent the past few months through the summer, so also had to get them flea and tick treatment because last time we were out we found 2 ticks on Rain, and that's always concerning. Matter of fact, I got one off of her, then a little bit later I looked down at my hand and saw that it was walking up my hand, and you know, you don't feel those things when they're on you because they're so the way their legs are, whatever, the way they walk, you just don't feel them. And so then I was concerned, of course, that I'd end up with a tick. So either way, as the weather cools, it becomes less tick-filled, as it were. But we'll be up in the hills pretty soon. This is where I typically turn around. I don't really park in this lot. Let me zoom out a little bit. This is the Golden Valley. You can hike up there, and if you hike up there, you can hike right over to where our condo is. So I've, well, close to where our condo is. I've ridden my bike up there a few times. from the condo right up to the crest of that hill. Haven't come down here yet though, which I plan to do. So this gets busy because all the people trying to avoid the traffic. And I'm literally just parking across the street as I do this little turn out towards the road, and then back into place and kind of go back over here towards that gate. I had a fair amount of anxiety the last few weeks, but last few days a lot, and part of it I narrowed down to why I was being kind of a dick. I narrowed it down to the fact that I reduced my, oh, there goes a mule deer, god damn it. Just saw a deer go up the mountains there. The dogs did not even notice it. Just went right there at the corner, ran right up the hill up there. We won't be able to see it at all. It's gone for sure. See if there's any others. Anyways, anxiety. So I decided I was going to drink less coffee, and only had 2 cups the other day, and by the end of the day I had some tea as well, but just I was probably at 4 to 5 cups of coffee in the morning, then going to tea, and had a headache. Hey! Had a headache, and then rain! Come on. Oh, boat smells something. For sure. It's gone, dude. Long gone. Come on. That's just where the deer went up, so he definitely smelt it. So anyways, yeah, so I reduced my coffee intake pretty drastically. By the end of the day, I was in a foul mood, and hey, this way, we're not going down there. In a foul mood and going through withdrawals, which is really weird to think. You know, years ago I was at church getting coffee, and I said to somebody as I got my coffee, I go, Christian drugs. And he said, coffee's not a drug. And I was like, well, caffeine is addictive and mind altering, without a doubt. So it is a drug, and it is addictive. It's an upper, of course. That's why we love it so much. There's a lot of positive benefits. Clears brain fog, and you actually can be more productive and have great output. So I enjoy my drugs. But anyways, cutting it down from 5 or 6, or however many I was drinking, cups of coffee, to 2, not a good idea. And I think I've had 1.5 or 2 this morning, and then I had some tea that I didn't finish. And now we're out here, so I'll have something when I go home. It does disrupt sleep. Found out that what starts to happen since I wake up so frickin' early, 3:30, 4 o'clock, around 3:30, I want that fix. I'm gonna get my coffee going, and my body's going, hey, time to get up and use. But anyways, so saw one mule deer just briefly this morning, up around. We go up around and go around a corner up there. There's a valley on the other side that we often see mule deer in. So we'll see what we see on our little trip. Sun is coming up. We don't see any beams yet. We might when we get around the corner and up a bit, but nice colors. I'm gonna keep the camera going in case I see some mule deer up here. So we'll keep it going. Bo's definitely on the lookout. Hold on. This down here looks down on the meadow, which is where I see them in the afternoon quite a bit. So let's see what we discover around the bend. Oh, wow, beautiful. Just great. If nothing else, it's worth it for this. Bo is looking. He likes to look down there and see if he sees anything. They are hard to spot down here, but we'll see them in this valley a lot. And they move up really slow through the brush. Remarkably hard to see. He's looking. He's got cataracts these days. I don't know how much he sees, but any kind of motion. But they mix in with those colors. Sometimes I've been looking right at them, I look away and I look back. You can't even see them where I knew they were standing, and then I finally, when they move, you get a glimpse of them. And sometimes they're down under the trees, and then they move up the hillside. I don't see anything today, but that can change. Once again, if nothing's seen, at least we see this, and that's worth something. It's worth the price of admission for taking a little drive and coming out here. Over in the distance, hard to see, but right in the middle of the frame, kind of. See if I can zoom even closer. You can see the top of that's actually the oil drilling truck from like the 1920s, 30s. If I find some pictures, I'll kind of embed them in here. Really cool truck. You can hike down to that. Come on. We'll go wide again. I think it just captured more of that sunrise. Keep going. Come on. Rain. Leave it. When Jess and I were up here last summer, I guess, coming back from that trek, we came across a rattlesnake. Baby. Almost stepped on it, and then Bo kind of went after it to see what was going on, and fortunately didn't get bit. We were able to keep him away. But it's one of the reasons I just love this area. And I love coming up early for a couple reasons. It lets me kind of not worry about having the dogs off leash for a little bit. Let them run around. On the way down, I'll probably have to be a little more careful because other people may show up by then. Usually on the weekdays, it's not very busy. So the trail curves up, goes around the edge of the valley up there, goes up around to a hill that you can turn to the right and go down to that truck I mentioned, or you go to the left and it takes you to the top of East Walker Ranch, which is another beautiful area to hike up to. I go this way for a couple reasons. I just like the seclusion of this trail, and also, Rain, leave it. Good girl. The seclusion of this trail is really nice. Look at you won't be able to notice it, I don't think, but look at the clouds kind of coming over the top of the mountain there. Pretty neat. But the other reason is going up that East Walker Ranch. It's a little road, and on one side of it there's one section that just has a ton of thorns. Every time I do that route, I end up spending several minutes pulling thorns out of the dog's paws. It's not very comfortable for them, and they haven't yet learned that that's an area to avoid. So I just avoid the area. Let's see. Let's take another look down here. See if we see. There's one of the areas that I sometimes see the deer in. Once again, you can miss them. Walk right by them. They are hard to spot. Sometimes you might hear something. They're pretty good at getting around unnoticed. It's kind of their magic power, I think. All right, we're gonna hightail it up this trail a bit, and we'll be back at you later. It's not really that challenging a hike, although I'm huffing a bit just because, well, I'm horribly out of shape. So, just one more confirmation that I need to be out here more. But nice hike, not too long, and it's not that strenuous. Really isn't. But it'll let you use your legs a little bit. But there's things that I love that are just cool about coming out this early. And part of it is what you might see in the clouds and the animals you might see. But also, as the sun starts to crest, you just get this nice sun on the mountains with the shadow. And what's kind of neat up here is a few spots that you see this, but there's all these fir trees up there. They're always kind of in a valley up near the top of these hills. They're actually a bit lower than they would normally grow, and it's a bit too hot here. So I don't think these were planted. I assume that, who knows, hundreds, thousands of years ago, that it was cooler and we had probably a lot more of these foresty trees. But over time, kind of the standard chaparral overtook these areas, but there's still these groves that grow in these valleys. And like I say, you see them in a few spots on these hills. It's just kind of interesting because they seem just strangely out of place and isolated. Oh, that's nice. Kind of the haze through that valley. Let's zoom in a little. It's hard to capture that on a simple video, but it's kind of neat looking. A little otherworldly. Oh, let's see. I think we're where that truck is. We're not going to go down there, although Rain's thinking we might be. What do you see, Rain? We're not going. No, hang out. There's the truck. So apparently this didn't belong to what was his name? Frank. Hey, drop it. Rain has a bad habit of eating wood. But Frank Walker, his family was up here. They had an adventure ranch, and I think I've shown the signs before. But a contemporary of his was illegally drilling for oil, and you can smell it when you come up here. And there's like a spring down in the canyon. If you go across the meadow and start heading back towards the Placerita Canyon Visitor Center, and water's coming out of there, but you can smell the oil and see it kind of greasy on that water. It's not really good for the dogs to drink. First time I came up, Rain jumped into it, and she smelled like oil for days. Couldn't clean that off. Rain, come on. But that's kind of true of the area. There was a slight amount of oil here, and apparently wasn't really legal to drill, but that truck was one of the drilling rigs that this person who, once again, a contemporary, a friend, Frank Walker, used his ranch and drilled for oil. So we've actually climbed up there. Once again, if I may have already shown you pictures, my daughter and I, on that. Well, I may have to get rid of my, wow, the sky looks nice. I may have to get rid of my beanie. Plenty warm. At the top of East Walker Ranch, there's a beautiful grove, oak grove right over there that I've hiked down into. That's where you spot owls and other critters. Seen a few owls up here. Of course, lots of hawks. And they have a picture posted somewhere of a red-shouldered hawk. And a lot of nice colors, a lot of kind of yellows and oranges. A lot of times people see the chaparral as, I don't know, plain or dreary, but it's not the vibrant flowery colors, but I find it pleasant and interesting. Kind of a mottled tapestry of sorts. So I can see up ahead, this is usually where it happens. You drop out from behind the protection of the hills and you are in sunlight. Wow. Once again, may not be able to quite do it justice, but there's nice clouds kind of just between the mountains and me, which just has a nice effect. So this is what I was hoping for, actually, to come hiking up and come out into the sun in this spot. We're gonna go up a little bit higher to where we're at the top of East Walker Ranch, which actually, if you look at that crest right there, that little hill, it's got light coming off it. That's a big grass hill. It's really great in later fall and spring when it's all green and the dogs just go running through there. They just love it. But it's also got some single tracks, and I just want to take my mountain bike on it. And so that's looking out towards the Golden Valley Wilderness across from Placerita Canyon Road. And once again, if I head over those hills, you can see a fire road cut into the top. That's where I've been on my bike. And a road that comes down to the left that would drop me down right to where I turned around in that parking lot. But I can ride the bike from the house, come up through that fire road, drop down and ride up here, which I haven't done yet. Kind of neglected doing that and haven't been riding. I need to get back on that. But today this hike will be good enough. So I've been up here and in this particular tree early one morning saw an owl. I don't see anybody today, but I assume they have a nest somewhere in the area. And there's that lone burnt tree up there, which is kind of cool. I think it's a picture waiting to happen. Maybe I'll get something. I did bring my RP with the 50mm. Haven't really stopped to take any shots, but we'll get there. Come on, guys. That's what looks so nice. Took a photograph of this tree maybe I did it in a portrait, but maybe maybe as a black and white it'll look good. The colors look great here, and I could maybe bring them out in Lightroom, but just kind of that, what is it, cliche dead tree picture. Look into the east, sun's a little bit obscured behind the clouds there, and kind of a haze over most of the valley. So that's looking back towards Sand Canyon, and then the hills behind it head out towards, to your right, that head out towards Acton, Vasquez Rocks, and go straight over and basically end up in, what is that, Leona Valley, Lake Hughes Road, which is further to your left. And then from there you go over and you're in Palmdale. Well, made it up to the top, and time to head back. Back and shower, shave, get ready for work. We're gonna move out, pups. Right here. Loosely, the goal is not to fall as we run down here. It's happened a couple times. I'll take it easy because I'm holding a camera. I have Bo on leash because he's gotten into the habit of meeting dogs ungracefully. We were running down one morning early and happened to come across some people who were also taking an early morning hike. They were just on their way up. I was already coming back, but first thing Bo did is just ran up to this husky puppy, and the husky wanted to play, and Bo immediately kind of narfed on him, bit him, and brought him to the ground, which is a bad habit over the last probably year and a half that he's developed. I just couldn't keep him off. I can't have him off leash at the condo complex anymore. I used to throw a frisbee for him, and then he turned around and actually attacked 3 people's dogs different times before I finally figured it out. I don't know if it's because of the cancer. He has cancer, or cataracts, his aging. He's afraid of things that he was never afraid of before, like cars going by, or just even the rocks. When we went hiking at Vasquez Rocks, he's so unsteady on his feet these days. He's still good. He catches frisbee. He doesn't seem to be in pain. When we found out he had cancer, my son is the one who spotted it. We had it removed, but it's on his teeth and jaw, and they said they'd have to remove part of his jaw, and I'm just not, willing to do that to him. I think that's a bit harsh. So I just said, as long as he's comfortable and not in pain, still wants to get out and excited and eating, he's doing good. But there's gonna come a time. In any case, I don't know if that's what led to it, but it strikes me as he gets super defensive right away. Used to only be like a male dog, but then he attacked an older female dog, and they were fine. He's not kind of ripping and tearing, but the posturing and loudness, it's scary for people. So because of what happened last time, I can have him off lead when I'm going up the trail, and I know I'm the only person on the trail, but coming down, I don't know who might have come here or shown up. So until I know, he gets to be on leash. Rain, she's a goofball. She won't respond negatively to anybody, so she's fine how she is. I just have to stop her from eating wood that she finds on the trail. There's a meadow we were looking down on before. Once again, it's one of the areas that you see a lot of those mule deer, sometimes up on that ridge right in front of us, sometimes back against the kind of where the meadow ends up there. I'll consider this a successful little outing. Felt good. Been way too long. And probably not the most exciting video, but I decided I would take you with me, let you see what I enjoy doing, and hopefully you saw some things that were worth looking at pretty as well. So this is my public service announcement. Look, if you live in Southern California, Los Angeles area, or anywhere like this, there are so many areas to go hiking, and hiking is for everybody. A place like Placerita Canyon, where I just was, it's not a strenuous hike. I mean, you can certainly do some hills there, but for the most part, it's a glorified walk. It's pretty casual. You don't need to wear hiking boots. Just sturdy tennis shoes are fine. You don't need to pack in water. You can leave it in the car. I mean, if it's a hot day, yes, but I wouldn't recommend going at that point. But if you're doing 40 minutes, you're not gonna get dehydrated. You're not gonna, you don't need snacks. Just, it's casual. You can go with nothing. You just literally show up and take a walk. And I think there's a benefit to being in the outdoors, away a little bit from cars and buildings. I think, well, there's certainly the physical benefit. It's good for your heart, good for your lungs. I also think there's a huge emotional benefit, mental health benefit to being closer to nature, being around nature. I think there's something in that feeds us, and hiking is the activity I did probably most consistently with my kids over the years. It was not uncommon for us to get out 4, 5, 6 days a week and do some kind of little adventure and hike, and kids love it. You start taking them out and they find fossils and animals and reptiles, all kinds of things. And people ask me all the time, they're like, Matt, how is it that you are always seeing deer or bobcats or raccoons, whatever it is, because I run into so many animals, and I'll send post a picture or tell a story about it. And part of it is just, you have to be where they are, right? So I might go out 5 days in a week for a small little hike, and maybe 2 of those days going up to Placerita, probably 2 to 3 out of 5 days, I'm going to see a mule deer or some kind of animal. Mule deer most often up there, but we've seen bobcat a few times, and like I said, hawks. So I think that's all good for the soul. And I think if you want an activity that costs virtually nothing with your kids and gives them an appreciation for nature that really for the rest of their lives, all my kids are pretty in tune with nature. They're out all the time and they really appreciate it. So I think you give them something that costs nothing and is priceless. So that's my PSA. Get out and hike.